So the next night, I'm sitting in front of the TV doing my homework. I would study in front of the TV, always have. I'm doing my homework, studying for my test, and I turn around and I look at him and I said, oh, by the way, I've been thinking. Well, now anytime I use that term, it gets his attention, laser focused attention. And he says, yeah, what have you been thinking of? I said, well, I had fun having sex with other guys when I was in high school because nobody knew that I did that in high school, but I was, very quiet about it. And I think we need to sign up for the whole program.
This podcast contains explicit adult content, mature themes, and candid conversations about sex, dominance, power exchange, and ethical non-monogamy. It is intended for audiences 18 and over only. Listener discretion is advised. The views expressed by our guests are theirs alone and do not necessarily reflect the views or values of the hosts, producers, or affiliated brands. The Bull Brotherhood podcast is for educational, entertainment, and empowerment purposes only. Nothing in this podcast should be interpreted as legal advice, medical guidance, or psychological counseling. We speak from experience, not credentials. Always practice consent, respect the boundaries of others, and follow local laws. If you're not comfortable with frank talk about sex, kink, dominance, or emotional power, this probably isn't the show for you. But if you're ready to step into your masculine edge and embrace a lifestyle that demands mastery, welcome to the Brotherhood.
Welcome to the Bull Brotherhood Podcast, where we talk power, pleasure, and the art of dominance in ethical non-monogamy. This is not your average lifestyle podcast. This is for men who lead, men who master, and men who leave a lasting impression. If you're here, you're not just curious. You're ready to elevate. So to all the bulls, hot wives, stags, and open-minded explorers, we see you. Let's go.
Oh yeah, claim the mind, train the body, own the soul, deep connections built on trust. Let's all go from conversations to the passion that we hold. This brotherhood's for man, no stories need to be told.
Everyone, hello. There we go. I am one of three parts of your host team, Siren. We are missing the Sigma male Brian Morgan as we are live from Splash, and he wasn't able to attend, but I'm here with my husband, Socrates. How you doing, babe?
What's good, y'all? I'm doing good.
And today we have one of, she runs this bitch here at Splash Mocha. We have Tina on today. Hi, Tina.
Hello.
And she was like, I'm not part of the Brotherhood, but she facilitates this whole event, and without her we would not even have a Splash Mocha. So we got to give it up for Tina, but we want to hear the inside scoop on dealing with all of the fun stuff inside and out of Splash. Socrates, you're going to be the interviewer today?
Yeah.
With Brian missing?
Yep. Yeah, I'm not as smooth, so I can't be like, so yeah, Tina, what's going on? What you got? No, but
Yeah, Brian have your panties wet before we even 2 minutes in, like, just with that voice.
Yep. Yeah, he's smooth. So yeah, we love this place. I mean, I remember the first time coming here. I didn't have a lot of great experience, especially with Black men in the lifestyle in group settings, and so I was really apprehensive. And my wife didn't know what to expect. But one thing I really loved is the vetting. They took a lot of time to vet the gentleman and everybody, I think. And I was just like, wow, I didn't know it can be this way. Just everybody respectful, everybody just mingling and getting along with each other. And not to say there isn't problems, but it just works smoothly. We're people, right? It just works smoothly. So, so we're just gonna kind of just talk about it, get to know Tina a little bit, and see where it goes, and really get into how Splash Mocha works and what we love about it. But Tina, talk to us a little bit about just getting started in the lifestyle, like how long you been in the lifestyle, what got you started, those kind of things.
Yeah, because you and your husband have been in it for a minute now.
Yeah.
So
So my husband and I have been in it for just over 20 years. It was completely my idea.
you whore.
I know. But yeah, it was completely my idea. We went to a friend's house. Coincidentally, earlier that day, it was the day after Christmas, I had actually torn my ACL riding four-wheelers. And we had plans to go out with friends. We went out with friends and we went back to their house and we were playing a game called Asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Don't ask me how to play it. I don't have a clue. And there was a rule. We got playing and there was a rule that if a jack of any kind was thrown down, the girls had to play topless.
Mhm.
So whoever won the last round became president. And so next thing I know, we're topless. And then, there was probably 2, 4, 6, 8 total people.
Mm-hmm.
So next thing I know, one thing leads to another. The other girls start playing together and they bring me in. Now, understand, Jeb and I were in the lifestyle, really never had heard anything about it. And unfortunately, I couldn't I was played with, but I couldn't do any playing because my knee was the size of, between the size of a volleyball and basketball at that point
Yeah.
by that end of the night. So,
Body positivity, guys. Even if you got a big old injury, you're still going to get your pussy ate. It's going to be great. We'll work around it.
we did that. The next week after work, my husband and I was going to school. We went out to dinner. Luckily, I was driving because he would have wrecked the truck. I'm driving home and I said, I've been thinking. And he's like,
Uh-oh.
what have you been thinking? I said, well, over at our friend's house this weekend, I had the girl experience. I think I want to experience a little bit more. So, and he was like, what? That's awesome. All men want to see 2 girls together. They think that is, that's the best thing ever.
I still do.
So we go home. I sit down in front of the TV and I'm working on college algebra and he's got the laptop in his lap and he's doing research.
Mm-hmm.
So the next night I'm sitting in front of the TV doing my homework. I would study in front of the TV, always have. I'm doing my homework, studying for my test, and I turn around and I look at him and I said, oh, by the way, I've been thinking. Well, now anytime I use that term, it gets his attention, laser focused attention. And he says, yeah, what have you been thinking of? I said, well, I had fun having sex with other guys when I was in high school because nobody knew that I did that in high school, but I was, very quiet about it. And I think we need to sign up for the whole program. And that was it. That was the end of it. And he was like, so I get to play too? I said, yeah. So it's kind of, we started out with rules and things. And then as you stay in it longer, we started to evolve. And so our rules turned into whatever the other couple's rules were.
Mm-hmm.
So we really didn't have any rules. We just kind of went with whatever they chose. If they chose to be in the same room, then we were in the same room. If they were okay with being separate rooms, we were okay with separate rooms. And it was just a couples thing, we didn't know any better. There was one lifestyle website that we were on. It's no longer in existence. And we went there, good God. There was meet and greets and house parties, and every weekend you could get out and go be around people. And that's what we started doing. And, we never even gave it the single guy thing a thought, because you're just learning. You just learn. And again, it's evolution. And now it's just like mostly we're just kind of, both of us are kind of open. We come to these, we're working the parties and he's like, hey, I got a date, and he tells me who, and I'm like, have fun. He comes back. I said, you have fun? Yep. You make sure she had fun? He says, yep, that's the end of conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, all right, cool.
High five.
Yep. that's the extent of it. That's where we started. So we've got just over 20 years in the lifestyle now.
It's awesome.
Wonderful.
And I work this, and by the way, this is my full-time job. This isn't like something I do on the evening after my day job. This is my day job. I work for Mocha full time.
Nice.
Best job ever.
And yes, I do have the world's largest little black book.
Yes, you do.
How many J's do you have in there?
You'd be surprised. I don't even exercise that little black book, but I could.
Oh,
I stay so busy.
So how did you transition from it being a thing that you guys did to like a job? Like, tell us about meeting with
So
the other owners.
Wayne and Missy are the owners of Splash Mocha, and they always have been since day one.
Mhm.
So we met them at a house party. Oh God, I guess it's been 13 or 14 years ago. And we just kind of, hit it off, what you do when you're on your knees in front of some guy you just met, give you a blowjob.
He's like, you can be my friend now.
So, we kind of hit it off there, and then we just started hanging out, and here and there it wasn't a whole lot. And next thing I know, there was a club in Cocoa, because I'm originally from my husband and I are originally from Florida. They were living in Florida, and they invited it to this new lifestyle club, and we went to the club, and we started hanging out a lot. And they had been trying to get us to go to an event they helped with called Splash Takeovers, which that was well before Mocha was ever a little star thought in their brains.
A little twinkle in Rain's eye.
Oh, twinkle. So they've been trying to get us to go to Splash Takeovers. We were always busy. I was scared to death to go to something that huge. And next thing we know, it was on a Wednesday evening after work. Wayne calls and says, "Hey, we just bought Splash Takeovers," and coincidentally, it was at this very hotel. And we just bought it from Dixie, and we got a couple of rooms available. We'd love for you to come and be our guest, no charge. So Jeb and I said, well, we can't just come for all 3 days. We can't get off work that quick. We'll be down there as soon as we get off work on Friday. So we drove down here. Jeb and I pretty much hid in our room for the most part. And we'd come down and kind of mix and mingle a little bit. But just like anybody else knew, we were a deer caught in headlights, right? So, we're trying to hang out with Wayne and Missy, but we know that they're busy. So Sunday, we get up, we check out, we put our luggage in the car, and we come back here to look for Wayne and Missy to say goodbye and thank them for giving us a room and tell them we enjoyed ourselves. And I guess it was about 9 o'clock in the morning, and they're tearing down. So my husband and I, we don't just wait for be asked like so many people do. Hey, do you mind helping us out? That's not what we do. We just start digging in.
Just jump in.
We just jump in, start picking shit up, start helping them load it up. And unfortunately, we can only help until noon because my husband's mom had a big family dinner planned at 4 o'clock that day. So we had to haul ass at noon to get back to Brevard County, which was a 3.5-hour drive, so we can get ready for dinner with the family. So we helped at noon, and next thing I know, afterwards, Wayne and Missy, the next time we hang out with them, they said, hey, we'd really like it if you'd come help us at Splash Takeovers the next year, help at registration and stuff. And I'm like, sure, okay. So at that time, they stored all their gear in a storage unit. So, and he would rent moving trucks, 2 moving trucks. We unloaded out of the storage unit, loaded it into a moving truck, drove them 3.5 hours to Fort Lauderdale, unload it out of the moving truck, set it up, and then at the end of the party, load it all back up on the moving trucks, drive it back to Brevard County, unload it into the storage unit because we had to have the trucks back that night. Lots of work. So
sounds like it.
Yeah. So then the next year, I was helping him.
I'm tired just listening.
And me too. And we helped him again. And then all of a sudden, their daughter was graduated high school. She was starting her first year in college, and they wanted to help her move in, and they had that whole transition. So they chose a hotel in Melbourne, and that's where Splash Mocha was born. They did Splash Mocha that August in a 80-room hotel. I think it was 80, might be a little more, could be a little less, in Melbourne, Florida. And the next month they had it at the same hotel because they needed something a little bit smaller. They needed to be there for her first day, which they left to go to DeLand to get her moved into the dorm in the middle of the party. So I'm not officially working for them. I'm just some dumb friend who's agreed to help them with this event because my husband and I used to, he used to be a fire chief in our community, volunteer fire chief, and we put on one of Brevard County's largest Christmas parades and barbecues. So we know what it's like to do hard work. And they left us kind of sort of unofficially kind of in charge, but not really. Just keep an eye on things, call if you need anything. The next year we had it there, and the year after that we were back down here. And the first year they were a little sketchy on it, and Wayne told Missy, let's try it again. Let's try Splash Mocha again. And from that, the next year it kind of took off. The popularity was amazing, and we moved it to this facility here, and they sold it out that first year. It was definitely quite interesting, and you could definitely tell from the very beginning that it was going to be something special.
Yeah. And what was the conversation like, though? Like, how did you guys come up with, like, this, hey, there is this need for an event that caters to single men,
Right.
particularly Black men, and people who want to interact with them? Like,
So-
what was that conversation like? You
so
didn't
like-
just wake up and be like, oh, we should just have a event for single Black men. Like, I think that'll be good. Like,
Yeah,
what was that
so
conversation
at
like?
Splash Takeovers, they had what they called the chocolate room. So they had a playroom that was the chocolate room. And there's several gentlemen here that were participating in the chocolate room at Splash Takeovers. And the popularity of that room was unparalleled to the rest.
Mm-hmm.
And, they took it from there. They saw a need, and they were still going to other lifestyle events. And they were noticing that that the guys were kind of getting the shaft, per se. No pun intended of that one.
Please transfer that to me. Thank
No pun intended, but they weren't getting a fair shake in the lifestyle. And even now, they still pay the maximum amount, while single girls, no dinging the single girls, but they get in for free or next to nothing, and then they're charging the couples a very minimal amount, and the single guys are $100, $150, $200 to
hate
get
that. There's no party without a dick.
Exactly.
I'm like, let the single guys in for free. Yeah.
Exactly.
I
So-
ruled the world.
So that's where the concept came from, is they saw how popular that room was, and so they started doing a little research, and then they had Splash Takeovers, and then the name Splash Mocha came up because it was going to be catered to couples and specifically single Black men, but we don't discriminate. It's open to all men, as long as they go through the vetting process and they're a good fit. They may have to work a little harder than you or Socrates or you, and that's what I tell them when they call. I'm like, hey, we don't discriminate. You're more than welcome, but
Right.
you're not going to be top of the menu. So, those are the words I use. You may have to work a little bit harder, but don't be offended. You can't be offended if a woman says, hey, you're just not my type, because some of them are specific to single Black men. You just say, thank you very much. I enjoyed talking to you. Move on to the next couple, because that woman might say yes. So that's how we handle it. And we got a couple of several guys that come. They can't come to every party, but they have a great time, and they get laid just as much as the next guy. So, it is open, but they all still have to go through all the same vetting process everybody else. And if they don't make that cut, we don't have a problem saying, I am so sorry, but you're not going to be a good fit for the event.
One of the things that I love, like I said, when I first came here, I had some really bad experiences in the lifestyle when it comes to going to events where they cater to single Black men. And I'll just say this, coming from California and the community I am, this is not about all Black men, what I'm about to say. This is not most Black men. And this is not the lifestyle in general. This is my experience in Los Angeles. I come from gang culture. That's another thing I'm going to add. So when I say this, I'm going to make that clear. But I kind of ran into that. It ain't no fun unless the homies can have some type of shit. Like that oh, I'm gonna run a train on a bitch type of thing. And I was really concerned about that because I wasn't having that with my wife. You ain't treating my wife that way. But what I was really impressed with, what I think is incredible, is the vetting. The gentlemen here are professionals. You get people from, that are, you know, highest security clearance people in any kind of industry, military, businessmen, every type of gentleman, but they're respectful. They know how to approach your wife. Us being Stag Vixen couple, I'm concerned about how do you approach me? How do you approach us as a couple? How do you approach my wife? My question to you, Tina, is how did you guys get the vetting down so well? I know people slip through the cracks, right?
Absolutely.
But how did you guys get the vetting down so well?
So, they have to call me first. They have to talk to me. And I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I'm a pretty good judge of character. I can read people pretty damn quick, even over the phone. And yeah, I mean, I'm not perfect. And yes, some guys know how to walk the walk and talk the talk and say the right words to get through, and then they eventually they will catch themselves because they won't act right and will weed themselves out. So, the old saying, the trash just took itself out. So, but they do have to talk to me. They have to get through me first, and then I will send a text to Dimitri. That gentleman is in that text, and it's an introduction, and then they get to talk to Dimitri. Now, I'm pretty tough, but Dimitri is even tougher. So out of every 10 guys that call, 2 make it through.
Mm-hmm.
So, he is all about, you've got to respect yourself first. And if you start calling him, you talk to me as a professional and you're on the up and up, and you get Dimitri on the phone and you start talking like, your brother's in the hood, he shuts him down. He's like, you don't know me. You don't talk to me like that. You're not respecting yourself. You're not respecting me.
Right.
And you're not going to go to Splash Mocha talking to the other guys like that, because that's not what we're about. So he's pretty tough. He's a pretty tough nut to get through. And between the two of us, I think we do a pretty good job. I might send a guy to him in a text, but on the outside, I'm sending him another text going, hey, I'm not too sure about this guy. It was like pulling a saber-toothed tiger's tooth out to get him to answer my questions and get him to talk. And I tell him I don't know if he was just shy because he's talking to a female and he's a little uncomfortable, or he might be just a little too young and just doesn't know how to communicate. And so Dimitri will feel him out. And sometimes they were just nervous to talk to me. And he's like, nope, they're a good guy. And then there's other times he's like, yeah, he has the social skills of a gnat.
Or when we talked to him about it on his podcast with us, he was like, yeah, and if they send me a dick pic, I'm like, meh.
Oh,
Here, I got a big dick. Let me in.
yeah, I get those pictures too. I have had over the years, I'll just open an email and it's a dick pic, and it's like, would I make the cut to come to Splash Mocha? And they don't include the name, they don't include a phone number, and it's just the dick pic, and that's all it is. I say, hello. If you can't ask me general questions, I do not appreciate random unsolicited dick pics to come through my email. I'm a professional person. I am so sorry. I do not feel like you're a good fit for the event. If this is how you're going to present yourself right out of the gate, I wish you lots of luck in your lifestyle endeavors. Sincerely, Tina. And then they'll try to, oh, I'm sorry. I don't answer the questions after that. I don't answer any more emails after that.
You will go on the wall of shame at Splash Mocha corporate.
Yep.
With your dick pic up on the wall, and we throw darts at it. No,
I try to deflate that thing, kind of like a voodoo doll.
Yeah.
Right. May you have ED for the rest of your life, because you don't know how to handle yourself anyway.
But I've had single females do the same thing. Send me a naked photo of themselves. I can see their tonsils from between their legs. I'm like, they get the same goddamn email. I don't want to see that at 8:15 in the morning.
Y'all should see her face.
There's not enough coffee or even Irish coffee for that.
Oh my goodness.
maybe there's some sort of drug that will erase my memory and I'm not to remember what I saw. But sometimes there's still wax on it from when they went to the wax, had it Brazilian wax from the day before. I'm not lying. That's a true story.
Are you
I
serious?
am dead serious.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Another thing they do that really impressed me, and I'll never forget, Tina, so it's not just a place where you come and fuck everywhere. There are a lot of classes here. There are a lot of things that you can come to ask questions, for them to educate you on how it works. And one of the things that is required, it's mandatory, is that all single men go to a meeting. And that meeting, they'll go over some of the fundamentals, and then they let the vets get up and put you on game. And I love that. So talk to us about that. What sparked that? Is that something you first thought of in the beginning? And you said, we got to let these men know how to conduct themselves and how to approach and how to, from registration to leaving here. Is that something that came up in the beginning?
Yes, it's been a part of Splash Mocha since day one. What it does, it helps the guys be accountable to each other. It creates a culture and brotherhood amongst the men. They're our first line of defense. We can't get the couples' undivided attention, but we have the guys' undivided attention. And it's a way for us to separate Splash Mocha from the rest of the parties. And it works. And a lot of the guys don't like coming because they've been coming since they've come to 15 parties and it's the same. But we still make it a requirement. I don't care if you've been to all of them, you still need to go. It might be the same information, but we also throw in more information that you've not heard of. And we try to make them aware of things that are going on because we do protect the single guys at our event. After all, it's the couples are coming for the single men, and it's an hour of their time. Not even that. This time we wrap the meeting up in 35 minutes.
Yep.
So we get out as much information as we can, and they even get a chance. We open the floor up for their peers to talk to each other and to throw out their ideas and to talk. And so they're just not hearing it from us. Don't do this. Clean up the playrooms. Don't throw your condoms on the floor. Put them in the trash can. Blah, blah, blah. Clean up after you get done having sex. They're hearing from their peers, from the guys that are witnessing what's going on in another guest room, in the playrooms. So you've really got that. So we do turn the floor over so they can go, okay, guys, you guys got to start doing this. And they kind of take heed a little bit better from the guys randomly talking about this is what I've seen and everything. It does create a great camaraderie amongst the guys, and they hold each other accountable. And what we say in the meeting, they'll be in the playroom, and one guy will tap his friend on the shoulder and say, "Here, you forgot to put down a clean sheet you just got done playing on."
Right.
Or, "Hey, you've just dropped your used condom on the floor. You may want to pick it up." So that's what it's for. And then the guys will, as they play with couples in the playrooms and they get up from playing, the guys will politely ask the couples, "Hey, would you mind helping me throw this clean sheet on the bed?" So now it's trickling down into the couples and to help keep after, put a clean sheet on the bed after you're done playing. So then the next person can come up because you've just laid down on a clean sheet. Now some of the playrooms that by the end of the night get so busy that they're not even worried about playing on sheets. They're just playing on a mattress. And it's like, hey, I've got to handle that matter some money, or that's not going to be fun. But yeah, it's a positive thing, and we try to keep it upbeat and positive, and I think we will continue doing the meeting because it's a way for us to get really good information out there.
And look, gentlemen, Tina will lay down the fucking law, so don't get it twisted. It's very positive, but she will straighten anything out. And Dimitri gets up there, and we have some other gentlemen that we know, Mr. Mocha. He'll get up there and straighten you out. And if you've seen these guys, you would definitely not want to challenge them about any of it.
The wife is another one that will do it too.
Yep. One of the times, I think it was probably our 5th or 6th time we came, Tina came to me and said, Socrates, you're married. Why you keep coming? You don't have to come. And I'm like, you don't understand. They put me up on so much game. I learned so much every single time. One of my favorite things that they came up with, I think it was here the first time I heard it, was shot clock. And if for those that don't know, when you're in a group setting, or whether you're playing or just out in the bar area or talking to someone, sometimes let's say you're just meeting someone and you're a male and you're going up to a couple and you're talking. You're not reading the body language. You're not reading the room. You're not looking at how they're interacting. You're just talking and talking and talking. And there's another guy there. He's been checking that woman out for a long time and he wants to go. And so a lot of the gentlemen were complaining, hey man, you guys are up there talking to this girl for an hour and she was, her body was faced the other way, turning away from you. And she just, every time another guy comes along, she's like, hey, how you doing? What's up? And so
Trying to get the escape eyes.
right. Come get me, and so we came up with shot clock, which means if you see another brother out there talking to a couple and it's been a while, the guy might come and say, hey man, whispering his ear, hey, shot clock, brother. That lets you know, hey man, you got wrap it up. Start your closing argument on what on why you should be selected, right? And I just love that because, I got advice from, hey man, if you had a really passionate session and you ready to go back down there, put some lemon juice on it, so you can really get it clear. I've heard, just great advice. And I love that because self-policing is the best. When you have your peers, like Tina said, telling you, when you have some of these brothers here, good looking brothers, 6'2", 6'5", 6'8", 250 pounds. He knows how he's smooth. And that guy's saying, hey, some of these are the things that we do to make the experience better for everyone. And you have all these other brothers saying, hey man, you keep doing this stuff and messing up my opportunity here at Splash, some of the best places I've ever been, I'm going to talk to you. And, and that kind of self-policing really makes it to where I feel better here than any other place to let my wife do her thing. Before we get on to some of the other questions, we have audience members here. Does anybody want to come up and ask questions about Splash or anything in particular? No? Okay.
I need you to go to the single men meeting and smile at them and let them know that it's okay. Because still 7 splashes in, I'm like, okay, maybe smile at them a little bit so they're not like, oh, I can't go up to her.
Audience.
I have a very special memory though from the men's meeting. Was that our first one?
That was that. I don't know if that was the men's meeting or a different seminar.
Oh,
You're talking about how you got your name?
yeah.
Yeah. That was, I don't know if that was a men's meeting. I think that was a seminar.
Oh, because there was couples in there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but couples can still come to the men's meeting. Sometimes, no,
It's men.
it's just men. Okay, it must have been, what was the seminar on then? He was going to all the classes.
Yeah, I was.
So, okay, well, I feel less guilty than if it was in the men's meeting because I had a single man occupied 2 ballrooms away for that meeting. And apparently I was being very loud. And Michael C. was running that meeting. And he was like...
Oh, he was probably doing his seminar.
Yeah.
While he was in it because Michael C. doesn't run the meetings. Dimitri and I do.
Yeah.
So unless he was in there making comments, so he had to be doing his seminar.
Well, if there was couples in there.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't feel so bad now because all these years I'm like, oh, I took this single guy away from the important meeting. And so I was being really loud, I guess. And then Michael C. was like, what did he say, babe? He said,
well, so we were in one of the rooms at that time where, Michael C. was giving his seminar, and right next door, there's
2 ballrooms away.
No,
it was I was 2 ballrooms
Oh yeah,
away.
you were.
It was a ways.
So we were, I was in there listening, and you kept hearing this screams and moans and yelling and all of that kind of stuff. And after a while,
He stopped the meeting.
Yeah, he was like, what is, what is that going on?
He's like, this is what
been in
Splash
Atlanta.
Mocha is all about.
Yeah.
No,
It was in Atlanta.
Was it? Or was
no, it was Houston. It was our second
Yeah.
Houston. Yeah.
Okay.
It was
Okay.
our
yeah.
second Houston. And then he's like, this is what Splash Mocha is all about.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, sorry, everybody. I think that belongs to me. So,
Yeah. I said, my bad. That's
my bad. And then they tried to start again. And it was just so noisy, I guess. And then Michael was like, sounds like a siren or something. So then that's how I got my name. And so that guy, he didn't know till like 2 years later that that's how I got my name. And so now he's like, siren? That was me.
Yeah. Because we can hear it over the, because there's walls that separate each ballroom, and we can hear it over so much that he had to keep, sorry about that, guys. He was like, she's enjoying herself. So yeah, it was nice. Yeah, so
no turning back.
Tina, talk to me about some of the really fun times. So you have like a story of one of the funniest or fun things that you've seen since, you've started Splash, something that, maybe the people of hearing it won't be too embarrassed about.
How do you put me on the spot? I can't think of anything off the top of my head right now, because every event is different,
Right.
and man, I can't come up with anything. But there's just so many. I don't know if I could pick out just one, other than any funny things. Other than I can't think of anything.
Well, what?
Of course, I'll think of 5 of them.
Yeah.
You want
Yeah. We'll do a post one. You can call us and then we'll put it back
Okay.
I thought of it. You wake up in the middle of the night. Jab.
in.
Yeah, no. When I get a chance to go to bed, I'm out.
Yeah.
There's no, hey Jeb, come over here and service me. No, it's like, don't even breathe in my direction. I'm going to bed. I got a long day tomorrow.
How has Splash Mocha evolved, if it has? Like, if you listen to the podcast, Brian Morgan loves the word evolution. He loves talking about how things evolve. So you guys had this vision, or Wayne and Missy had this vision of Splash Mocha, and they saw it grow and they saw it could be what it could be. How has it evolved since? Because this is what, your 10-year anniversary,
10-year anniversary.
10-year anniversary. So congratulations for, putting something together for that long. For both of us, we both have experience in events, not in the lifestyle, but outside of it. And we know how hard it is to run a well-run event the way this is. I mean, when you guys come here, you see it's completely done up. So before you even get into the hotel, there's security staff out there checking to see if you're even on the list. What I love about the lifestyle is I like to get freaky as fuck, but if you're vanilla, I don't like people seeing that. Because even when I'm on the streets, I don't want to see any of that. So when you pull in, they're going to double check, number one, that you're supposed to be here. And number two, you ain't bringing your kids,
Some Wednesday nights in Houston have been a little awkward in the lobby.
Yeah. And then, when you come in, it is well decorated. The registration is right there. Things are covered. So even if you get past security, you're not seeing anything. But how has it evolved to the sense that, you started off with certain things that every lifestyle hotel takeover is set up and they need to do. And then as it is now, what are the things that's changed or gotten better or moved that you feel like is giving people better experience?
Well, for one, the dance floor. The hotel used to set up the dance floor now. Wayne and Missy have purchased a beautiful LED lighted dance floor for everybody's experience. We've got the LED lighted stripper poles. They were once a metal frame with plywood on it and a conduit, electrical conduit painted black, and which was fine next to the parquet floor that the hotel put down. Well, then he bought the beautiful LED lighted dance floor, and it's like, now it just looks like trailer trash. So then, because of me, he upgraded the stripper poles. When they started, it was basically a speaker on a stick for the DJ. And DJ Rockin' Ronnie is our production manager. He's been in lifestyle for years, and he pretty much does nothing but lifestyle events as a DJ. And he would bring all the equipment and all the DJ equipment. And then Wayne and Missy started purchasing the equipment as Splash Mocha grew. They're very good at reinvesting back into the company. The tablecloths here in the ballroom that we're sitting in all say Splash Mocha, all the way down to the trash cans. We bring in our own trash cans, and they have Splash Mocha trash can liners that go on them. So everything's branded and labeled. All the pipe and drape, we bring in all the mattresses.
Nice.
And those mattresses have even evolved. In the beginning, he had went out and bought mattresses from a hotel that was closing, and he brought those, and that's what we would lug around. Let me tell you what, if you ever tried to pick up a king-size mattress on your bed, that's like, first of all, they're fucking heavy. Excuse me for my language. Secondly, they're like a damn wet noodle. They just got a mind of their own. So those were a bitch to move and pack and stack and all the grossness on them after trying to load them in the trailer.
Yeah.
Crusties.
Yeah, and I've got to hold them back so they can get the next one in. I'm the one that's kind of stuck to them. There were times I thought they were just going to close the trailer on me and keep me between the mattresses. Kind of like Princess and the Pea. And now the mattresses that they have, they're box spring mattress all in one. They bought the bed frames that go with them. They fold up like a transformer. So we bring in all the mattresses, all the pipe and drape, everything. That when you come to Splash Mocha, everything you see belongs to Splash Mocha.
Nice.
The only thing the hotel provides, they do normal hotel stuff, is they set the table and chairs in the ballroom. We do everything else. We set the playrooms, we set the pipe and drape, we put all the decorations on, we do all the DJ equipment. Everything you see is Splash Mocha. And I'm part of the setup crew. I'm also part of the teardown crew. I just don't take everybody's reservations, answer text messages, phone calls, emails, and just general questions. I'm in those trailers sweating with the men and doing setup. They went from moving trucks, like we said at the top of this podcast. He now has upgraded it to 2 51-foot enclosed trailers that are custom built.
Nice.
And 2 freight liners that pull them all. And we get a lot of people that say, when are you coming to California? Because of that, and it's Wayne, the owner, he drives one of the trucks and trailers. His son drives the other one. And I'm usually as a passenger in one of those trucks, whether we're coming down here, whether we're going to Houston. Houston's a 2-day travel event for us just to get there, and a 2-day travel event just to get back. So all of that has evolved. So now there's no more unloading everything into a storage unit. Everything lives in the trailers. So all that's evolved. We have all of our rules on, we call them A-frames. They're like kind of like a sandwich board, but soft-sided. And so this way nobody can say, well, I didn't know the rules. Well, there's an A-frame with all the rules probably every 12 feet, especially in a lobby. So when somebody's taking a photo of in the hotel and it's not in a designated photo backdrop, they're like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know the rules. I point probably to 6 wards that have the rules on them.
Right.
It's the 4th one down from the top.
Mm-hmm.
There's your rules.
Is that in the vetting, though? A reading test?
Right.
I have come to the conclusion, because I have not been officially working for Splash Mocha for the 10 years. 2 years of that, I was just helping my friends. For 8.5 years, I have been officially working full-time for Splash Mocha. And I have come to the conclusion, swingers can't read.
That's what we're going to name this podcast. Swingers Can't Read.
Maybe we're just too drunk by this time.
That or the horniness is like so
Fries your brain.
rose-colored glasses, like beer goggles. So horniness is beer goggles.
If it's not a dick, I can't see it.
Exactly. That's what I think. That's the problem. They've got their horny goggles on.
What's the total manpower it takes? Total amount of manpower.
Okay. So
Question is the total manpower. How much total manpower does it take for Splash Mocha?
right. So we have, there could be last month in July, we only had 9 people to do all the setup. This time we're probably at about 12 people. I mean, that's not that many people to do that. You know, the ones that lead it up is Wayne, me, and Jeb, and we get it done, get it unloaded, and everybody pitches in and does what they're supposed to do. But yeah, that's all we have. We don't have roadies. We have single guys who have volunteered to help doing setup and teardown. Setup and teardown is not easy. It sucks. It hurts, especially on Sunday for teardown when a lot of them have been up all night long. My husband's one of them. He'll go to bed tonight around 6:30, 7 o'clock, and he's back up at 1:30 because the ballroom's got to be torn down at 2. The dance closes at 2. Playrooms close at 3 a.m. So he'll stay up all night. And he'll get this all torn down. The LED screens will get torn down. The dance floor gets all torn down. Everything has to come down. And then they start opening all the air walls and tearing the rest of it down. So, and then I come down in the morning and I get down here about 6:30, 6:45, and we start. And we're usually torn down by noon, 1 o'clock, and closing the trailers. And we do it with very little.
Question was, how many would you prefer?
Well, we don't want too many because then you got a lot of people standing around and they're half-assed doing their job. You don't want too little either. So, you know, I would say 10 to 12 is probably about the maximum because you also don't want things just thrown and tossed around. Everything's got to be handled a certain way. That's how we keep everything nice. And we try to stress that. So you get too many people, it's like like a baker, too many fingers in the pie, you're going to screw it up. So I would say 10 to 12 is probably our optimal number of folks. And we've got quite a few of the guys on the team that know what to do. They've done it enough, and we could start setting up rooms, and we could get a couple rooms going at the same time with the pipe and drape and getting those frames up. But yeah, it's definitely a well-oiled machine, and there's always room for improvement. So, but yeah. Yeah.
He said lube makes everything better. That's what I was going to say. I was like, don't you mean lubed machine? Oh.
So what's the future of Splash? Like, what are you guys looking forward to? Is there any plans you have in the future, or is it just to keep it going and keep it running tight?
Well, as everybody in this room knows, we run a tight ship. We not only, as Splash Mocha staff, do we toe the line, but we ask our guests to toe the line. We keep it professional and classy, and we strive for excellence at each and every party. Okay. Now I forgot your question.
No, I love all that. No, that's the character of Splash. What's the future like? What are you guys looking forward to?
So yeah, now I remember where I was going with that. So we do all that, and the future is, we want to keep it going because when you sit down and think of it, Splash Mocha is really larger than all of us. So yes, we want to keep it going, and I know Wayne and Missy, they're wanting to grow it just a little bit more. And that's just a matter of timing. The right city, the right state, the right hotel, the right everything. It's just got to be right. So they're looking to grow it eventually into maybe another city or two, not out west, because logistically that would be a nightmare. We would be gone if we two went to Las Vegas or even out to California. Just the fact that we would be gone 30 days from our homes and families for that event.
Yeah.
As it is, we get to the event a week early. And if we're going out to Houston, that's a 2-day travel. And the reason we get out a week early is in case we have any mechanical failures. One year we were driving out to Houston. We were 5.5 hours from the house. And not the Freightliners, they were using a dually, the transmission cut loose and broke. You can't fix transmission on the side of the road.
Right.
So we still got into the hotel the day we were planning to. We got it worked out. We got a place to store that truck. We were just west of Birmingham. and for that week. And Wayne and Missy and worked it out, and we got on site about 4 hours later than we were supposed to, but we got there. So that's why we go out so early, as if we have issues. We also like getting there to start meeting with the hotel, getting all the ducks in a row, making sure everything is in line, making sure the hotel doesn't need anything. So, if we were to go that far, we would have to leave a week before we need to be there. Then we're there a week before the party. Then you have the party. Then we have another travel of a week, not to mention the wear and tear on the tires, the trucks, food. You got to feed us all. Hotel stay. Wayne only drives 6 to 8 hours so he can keep everybody safe. There's a look at how many hotels are putting in teeny tiny little parking lots. There's not many hotels that will accommodate a semi truck, let alone 2 semi trucks, because we're a couple inches shy of a semi truck. So, we got to think of all that. And there's people that just don't understand. Well, I don't understand. We just don't show up at a hotel and go, oh, we're here, let's party.
Right.
Yeah. So everything you see here is done by us.
We've been a part of those kind of events.
Yeah.
So we have probably collectively, I've not been, I probably did like 15 weddings. I don't know how many you did when you had your event center.
Yeah.
Catered for Christmas galas, been on committees for charity galas, all kinds of things that were run really well. And we've definitely seen some where, I made this menu. It took me 8 hours. I'm like, ChatGPT made the whole menu in 15 minutes. I'm sorry you wasted your time, but that ain't my fault. So, we definitely know a good event when we see it and can appreciate. That's why I've told you, you're like, I said, I know what you're going through.
And on a daily basis, the 2 people that work full time on it is Wayne and myself, and then Missy. She has a day job. She has a real day job, and she does Mocha stuff in the evening and on the weekends. So she's like, there's 2.5 of us that do this
Full time.
And what Wayne and I do and Missy does is probably about the equivalent of 5 people.
I believe it. You had a question?
No, back there.
Oh. The question was, how do you guys pick the location?
Well, it depends. It depends on state laws. Not just state laws about sex, but state laws, labor laws. We can't go into California or New York due to labor laws. We can't bring our volunteer staff to do it. They can't touch anything. We have to hire people from the labor board to come in and do it and pay $30 an hour per person. And then they have to bring so many people in because that person's only qualified to lift a box. This person's only qualified to move chairs. That person's only qualified to do tables. When the tables are moved, nobody else can touch it. So, they have an attorney that looks into all that for us as well. It depends on the hotel. They'll go to 200 hotels and get one that might say maybe because it goes against their religion. They don't want it. They've heard horror stories about other lifestyle events. Because they don't leave any stone unturned. We don't go in there and not tell the hotel exactly what we're doing. Because we're not going to get there in the middle of the party, them shut us down.
Right.
We don't have an event anymore because at that point, we've lost the trust of our guests. Because our guests trust us to keep them safe. And that includes not getting the party shut down in the middle of the event. So it's all the planets, the stars, Halley's Comet, everything has to be in the right line for it to work out to pick a venue. But it starts with the state sex laws, and because there's some states that have old laws from 1700, 1800s on the books. Tennessee,
Sodomy laws, things like that.
Yes, Tennessee is one of them. There's a law on the book about black men and white women having sex.
Yeah.
Which it probably wouldn't stand in a court of law these days, but you don't want some Barney Fife wanting to make a name for himself showing up, knocking on the door, going, "We're shutting you down and we're arresting, half a dozen of you, all of you." We don't need that. So he does have an attorney that keeps his eye out.
In our state, oral sex is illegal.
It's illegal in the state of Florida too.
I break the law daily.
So, there's it when I'm not joking when I say the stars, the planets, and Halley's Comet all has to be in a line to make it work.
Wow. Anything else to follow up with him? No, that's awesome. We're wrapping up here, so let me ask you this: if you were to describe Mocha in 3 words, what would you say?
3 words. Incredible, awesome, camaraderie.
Why camaraderie?
Because people come to Splash Mocha and they make friends. And those friendships not only translate inside of this hotel, but they translate outside of the hotel as well. So when I said earlier that Splash Mocha is bigger than all of us, what I meant by that, if somebody were to tear the roof off of this hotel and look inside, color doesn't matter. We're like a big old box of 64 Crayola crayons. We're a bunch of different colors, but we're still all the same.
Yeah.
And to see people being engaged, and this makes me emotional because it's so fantastic. When you see people truly, truly engaged, their phones are put away. I mean, how many times have you gone into a restaurant, right? And you see a husband and wife sitting at the table. And for those listening, I've got my phone in my hand, and they're sitting here staring at their phone across from each other. They're not engaged. They're not living in the moment. They're not chatting. They're not visiting. They're just staring at their phone. They're not talking and communicating. When you come into Splash Mocha tonight, when you walk through that restaurant, look around and see how many people actually have their phones out. They don't. Their phones are away. They're communicating. They're engaging with people. They have people they just met sitting down and having dinner with them. They're laughing. They're joking. They're enjoying one another. They are truly living in the moment. We don't live in the moment anymore.
Yeah.
Because of technology and our stupid phones, we no longer live in the moment. We're too busy thinking about what's going to happen tomorrow, what's going to happen in the next hour, and what happened yesterday. Everybody is present right here.
Yep.
And they're making friends and making connections. They're getting out of their box, and they are meeting people they never would have met inside of the little town that they live in had it not been to Splash Mocha. I have actually had guests tell me because they met a certain couple or a certain guy, they now have a brand new job.
Mm-hmm.
It's changed lives.
I was in
It's
here.
fantastic.
I was in here in the men's after the men's meeting. There was a gentleman who I don't know what his position was, but his best friend owned a very large construction company, and somebody else here, I think maybe one of the volunteers was needing some help in that area, and they were on the phone saying, "Okay, well, what's your qualifications? What do you, where you at? What can you do?" And when they walked out of there, he was like, "Okay, we're gonna put an application in. We're gonna get you going here." And it was beautiful. I can say this, personal testimony. I had no friends, 0 male friends until Splash Mocha.
Drew me crazy. I was like,
Splash.
how hard is it to make friends? Just go do it.
Right. And I have some of the men that I've met here, I would take a bullet for. In the 2 or 3 years that I've met them, and the confidence that they've helped build in me, the camaraderie, the brotherhood, right? The Bull Brotherhood came from Michael C., who I met here.
Mm-hmm.
And that was his concept. I got his permission to call this podcast that before I did, because that's his thing. And yeah, so when you talk about that, Tina, I'm just like 100%.
And another thing about Splash Mocha, as far as the women go, and not just Splash Mocha, but lifestyle. As far as women go, the lifestyle is very much driven by women. It's the women that say, yes, we're playing, or no, we're not. So it is very woman forward. And I'm not one of those flaming feminists or anything like that. But as women growing up, we have always been told, at least I'm supposed to be ashamed of my sexuality. You're not supposed to enjoy sex. You got to keep it quiet. Da 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 da. Well, I was 15 when I had sex the first time. And I was 16 with my first threesome. I guess I was slated for this. Anyway, you know, and I was taught to be ashamed of myself, of my sexuality. And this, even though we cater to the single guys and the couples, but it's the women, and I tell couples this all the time, especially first timers, that it helps women realize that we are sexual beings. It's okay to be proud of who we are. It gives you an opportunity to be comfortable in your own skin. You know, I struggle with, everybody says, but you're so confident. Well, I'm confident, but I'm hiding behind that. You know, my ego isn't that high. I don't have a very good outlook on myself. But then when you see you're getting comments and compliments from people who have, for no reason, they're, you know,
Nothing to gain.
yeah, they have nothing to gain. I look at my husband and I'm like, yeah, but you signed a contract when we got married. You're supposed to say that stuff. You know, yeah, thank you. He gets like, you look great. And I'm like, yeah, you told me I looked great 3 years ago when I was at 210 pounds too. What rose-colored glasses are you looking through? Yes, I've actually said those words.
You look good at 210 though too.
Thank you. But it's the, you know, we get compliments from somebody who owe us nothing. And that helps us, that gives us a good, it gives us a good feeling. We go home with those words in our head, and it works with us and helps us realize, well, maybe I'm not so bad when we go home and look at ourselves in the mirror. And we are allowed to feel good about our sexuality, and we are allowed to be out there about it. You know, men get smacked on the back all the time. Yeah, good job, dude. Hey, how many women did you lay this weekend? And while we have to be quiet and demure, but here,
I never drank that tea.
well, that's how I was raised.
Right. Me too, though.
You know, but doing this, it's helped bring out, it's helped break that mold. And it's very good for women to come to Splash Mocha because
it's a transformation.
Exactly. They get to see themselves through somebody else's eyes, which we don't get too much of. And if I had somebody ask me, I have had somebody ask me, if I could choose a superpower, what would it be? For me to see how other people see me through their eyes, whether good or bad. But I would love that superpower to be able to see how everybody else views me. And I bet if we all had that superpower, we would all be very, very shocked at how highly people think of you.
Yeah. Well, and how we even talk to ourselves. Like, that was a big thing when we got together, is his self-talk was terrible.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I talk to you the way that you talk to yourself, you punch me in the mouth. So I just try to impart that to women, is like, we're hard on ourselves. Everybody is, male and female.
And I think women are a little bit more so because
But it's like, you wouldn't talk to me like that. You wouldn't. I'm 210, Tina, and I look hot. Right? So it's like, you're down on yourself as you were 210, and then someone else, you're telling them beautiful at the same weight, right? So we just have to remember that, is like, you know, you wouldn't talk to your best friend the way you talk to yourself. So it's changing that. And sometimes I'll get in those valleys too. But if we just, you know, if I get real bad, then he's like, you need to put sticky notes on your mirror again and read them every day. So I have them all over the place just to remind myself, you know, what other people and however people see me. So that's really good.
Oh, y'all didn't know he was going to a self-improvement seminar, did you?
Almost done with that.
Oh, yeah, we're coming up on that.
Yeah, well, this is my job. So I talk to a lot of people, and, you know, I sit and think about it a lot because, I mean, I eat, live, and breathe Splash Mocha mostly. So, and I've been in the lifestyle 20 years. And I've seen a lot. I've talked to a lot of people, and these are the things that I've come up with. And I think for women, it's very empowering. And I think you see these new women that come in through the door at main registration, and they're so quiet, and they don't want to look up. They look down at the floor and looking at their feet, like, don't make eye contact with me. I'm here, but I'm not here. And then to see them at the end of the party, and they're the life of the party, and they're looking up and catching people's eye and chatting and smiling and giggling, and they're allowed to be who they are without outside society pointing the finger and looking down on them. You know, it's It's very, and
Yep.
it's for me, it's very rewarding because I've got to see that butterfly get out of her cocoon.
Well, this is a place where a lot of people find their freedom, you know?
We're allowed to be who we are here.
This is where Siren found her freedom. That's for sure.
Yeah. And that's why, we started the podcast that I have, because I want to hear about people's journey. Like, it would hurt my heart when I was younger in my 20s and women would say, I just don't enjoy sex. And I'm like, and I wasn't enjoying it in my first marriage, but I was like, there's more to this. There's something more. And I just was on that journey of like, what else? There's more. And we would talk to people, and it was just, very, that's a whole other podcast. Anyways, I could just talk. We could talk all day.
I could go on and on and on because it's just, like I said, this is bigger than all of us.
Yes.
When you start peeling back the layers like an onion, you start realizing that how much this is. If society could take out a page out of our playbook, like when we came back from COVID, we were dealing with the George Floyd thing, COVID, politics. Everybody had their feelings on their sleeves. And our event in Atlanta, we moved it from March to May in 2021. And our event was the first big event after COVID. And to watch, number one, watching people walk through that hotel door on registration with their whole faces covered with a mask. And they see a sea of people, 100 people in the lobby, and not one damn mask on. They just rip that sucker right off their faces, big old grins on their faces. Everybody's political COVID opinions, everything was on high at that time. And none of that freaking mattered. Nobody breathed a word of COVID. Nobody breathed a word of what was going on outside the walls of that hotel. They left all that bullshit outside on the street.
Wow.
And it was freaking amazing.
Yeah.
It was, like you said, Socrates, it was beautiful just to see people go back to the way it was before that stupid virus struck.
Right.
So, it was phenomenal.
That's beautiful too. I love that.
And like you said, the world outside this is like the only place that I feel completely like everything in my regular life doesn't even exist.
Right. And we
for
call
a
it the
few
Splash
days.
Mocha bubble.
Yep.
Everybody comes here, they get trapped in the Splash Mocha bubble because nothing outside the walls of this hotel freaking matter.
Yep.
The only thing that matters is the people sitting in front of them.
Yeah. I love that. Well, we can go all night, but we can't. So is there anything else that we didn't talk about you wanted to cover and want people know about Splash?
Well, like you call it the Bulls Brotherhood. One thing that we are trying to do in the lifestyle is try to get away from, not that there's anything wrong with the name of your podcast. We are trying to change some of the terminology. We don't refer to the guys as bulls. We don't refer to the guys as BBCs. When I get couples that say, how many bulls and BBCs you got coming? I'm like, first of all, the men of Mocha are not bulls, and we don't call them bulls and BBCs.
Right.
They're gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
First and foremost. To me, and please correct me if I'm wrong, to me, I get when they say it, and it's probably the tone that they use when they say it, it makes me think that they think you're just a piece of meat.
Right.
You're just a side of beef. And I know for a fact all the men at Mocha are not just that. They're beautiful souls and beautiful people, and they deserve it. And also what we say at Mocha, everybody's a guest. I don't just call the couples and the single guys. When I refer to whether it's the guys or the couples or the single females, everybody's a guest.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what category you fall into. But I do know some guys call themselves bulls, some of them call themselves BBCs, and that's great. But, we want to let everybody know that the men at Mocha are gentlemen.
Yeah. Well, you got a lot of ladies that we know, they won't use that word at all. They'll only say black gentleman or gentleman. And for us, we picked the word because we do know it's more specifically for the cuckold dynamic.
Right.
And as a married bull, and Brian has been a bull for 30 years, we're just saying from our perspective of the lifestyle, we're a niche of a niche, but we have a unique perspective, but we have different people on. That's why that Brian insisted having Siren on, because we wanted a female's perspective. And yeah, there are gentleman bulls, there are manicorns, there are just single men, there are cucks that come, there are just stags that come, there are husbands that are just curious. So those titles are loose. You can be fluid with the titles. We're more concerned about our perspectives as bulls, and that we're a brotherhood, that we hold each other to a certain standard.
But you're putting it's a positive thing.
Right.
You're making it positive.
Exactly.
Some of the couples I talk to, it's when I'm talking to them and they're talking about the guys being BBCs or bulls,
Right.
it gives me a negative.
Yeah,
It gives you the ick.
yeah. It's like a job, or it's like that's all I see you as, right?
Right. And I want
you have
them to know-
tasks to do, right?
Right. And I want everybody to know that the guys are more than just a bull or BBC. That's why I refer to the guys as gentlemen, because they are more than what's between their legs.
Right. Well, I like what Michael C says. Some of us are ABCs. We're average black cocks. So, you're not even going to get all BBC all the time. So
There was something else for like a tiny one too.
I forgot.
Yeah.
I forgot
What it was.
Yeah. So, I thank you for making that clarity, because, right, what I do love is, no matter what your dynamic, no matter why you're here, it's about being human beings. It's about connecting on a real level, right? And that's what I love about you. What I love about you, Tina, is that you're just real. If it's straightening motherfucker out, you're just real. If it's showing love and support, you're just real. And that's what it's all about. It's about, come here, be authentic, be real, understand you're a part of a community. Understand the way you treat others and how you conduct yourself has effect on the person in front of you, but also on the community, right? And that's what I love about it.
And see, for me, from a personal standpoint, the way I see it, if you cut my arm and you cut everybody else's arm in this room, what color are we all bleeding?
Right,
Red.
right,
So I don't care what color your skin is. We're all just people.
exactly.
And if you're acting like an asshole, then I'm going to treat you like an asshole.
Right, no matter what color.
Exactly.
So if anybody wants to learn more about Splash Mocha, where would they go?
If you want to learn more about Splash Mocha, you go to splashmocha.com. All of our events are listed on our website, all the upcoming dates, all the current dates. If you open up one of the parties and all the rooms say sold out, we're sold out. That is not a marketing ploy. We're 100% sold out. If all your room categories say sold out, we're done. We're sold out. So a lot of people think, well, why don't you just get the hotel to give you another block of rooms? When we go into a hotel, we don't buy a block of rooms and then we sell those out and the hotel gives us another block of rooms. We don't do that. We go at it. We buy out the whole facility from the get-go, from day one, including the parking lot. So when I know there's a lot of parties out there that'll say sold out, and next thing you know, a week later, there's 20 more rooms available. That's not how Splash Mocha rolls.
And you guys sell out months in advance.
Yeah, so, we're in the August 2025. We sold this event out 5 months ago to single men and to couples. It was all sold out. Houston is already sold out to couples and single men. We sold that out a month ago. New Year's is a little slower at selling out. Yes, there's a bunch of events out there for lifestyle. We don't consider that competition for selling out a little slower. What we're competing with is Christmas and family time.
Right.
Nobody knows what their family plans are until first or second week of December. That's when all my reservations start amping up. Last year, we sold out 2 weeks before the event for New Year's, but it's all because of Christmas.
But it always sells out.
It always sells out. It always sells out.
Yeah, because if I had $1 for every time a single man was like, oh man, I didn't think I was going to sell it that quick, I'm like, listen.
I'd be rich. I mean, Siren's in the Caribbean right now, being served by a very
Right.
cute cabana boy, drinks with little umbrellas in them.
Well, because we're like on a permanent payment plan. Like we're always signed up for like the next two. Like our accountant's like, what's ML ticketing? I'm like, well, that's like a what do we say? It's like a convention that we go to. Like it's educational. He's like, okay, we aren't business. Okay, because it is.
Exactly. Yeah. So, Tina, thank you so much for coming on and just letting us learn more about it and, showing us love and everything. And so if you guys there's also a referral program. Affiliate program. I'm sorry. Thank you. And so if you guys are interested and you want to, go through our affiliate, you heard about it here, just send us an email. It's also on the show notes. And yeah, so Siren, did you have anything else that you want to talk about before we get out of here?
We missed you, Brian.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. Thank you for all the audience and everything. Thanks for Brian for, chilling back and letting us do this, because he's the big bull of the show. And thank you, Tina, for coming on.
It's my pleasure.
We really appreciate you. And you guys, come check it out. Come check it out. If you haven't, trust me. You are going to be impressed with the professionalism, with the people that come here. You're going to be impressed with the way things are conducted here. And, for the husbands, that's a big concern for me. Your wives are going to be well protected and well respected. And if they're not, people like Dimitri and Wayne and everything, they'll straighten you out. So check us out, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Brotherhood, luxury and tall.